never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Happy Friday to everybody out there. This is the final weekend in the month of April. And I know the NFL draft started last night, and of course it goes on again tonight and tomorrow. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details right now about the draft because it's not over with yet. But I will go ahead and say that most Falcons fans are concerned, worried, whatever words you want to use about them drafting Michael Penix Jr. last night. Tomorrow, we'll talk about why they may have done what they did. But today, I want to talk some NASCAR here on the channel. This past weekend, there was no truck race, but we had an Xfinity race and we had a Cup Series race. Saturday, the Xfinity race was won by Jesse Love. Now, Jesse Love drives the 2-car, which has been a Richard Childress Racing Xfinity Series car since Kevin Harvick drove full-time back when it was the Busch Series. Now, Jesse Love is really young, but this kid is going to be really good. So if you're new to NASCAR and you want to find a driver and jump on their bandwagon, I would say go ahead and jump on Jesse Love because he's going to be really good. Riley Herbst comes home second, followed by Anthony Alfredo, Leland Honeyman Jr., Brennan Poole, Sheldon Creed, Baccarella, Matt DiBenedetto, Jeb Burton, and Cole Custer rounded out the top 10. You have a lot of guys that you normally don't see up front, like Honeyman and Poole and Baccarella and DiBenedetto, who's only part-time. But that's what happens when you go to Talladega because you never know when you're going to have that bad wreck that takes out half the field. And if you just can avoid that wreck, you have a pretty good shot at finishing up front. It looked like Brennan Poole was going to get the win until about the last half a lap when Jesse Love took it away. On Sunday afternoon, we had the Cup Boys at Talladega, and the race was won by Tyler Reddick, followed by Brad Keselowski, Noah Gragson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Alex Bowman rounded out the top 5. Anthony Alfredo, William Byron, Todd Gilliland, Daniel Hemrick, and Harrison Burton rounded out the top 10. Now, this weekend again, there's no truck race, but we are at Dover for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. The Xfinity race will be Saturday afternoon. That's tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern Time. And the Cup Boys will race from Dover at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, Sunday afternoon. I have always liked Dover. I think it's because when I first started watching NASCAR, I was 12 years old. And the first time I saw Dover, I saw that bridge that goes all the way across the racetrack that a lot of fans stand on and watch the race. And I thought, man, that is awesome. I would love to be standing on that bridge looking down and watching the race. And ever since then, I have loved the Dover racetrack. So I am looking forward to the race this weekend. But I enjoyed this past weekend. I always like Talladega. But a lot of fans are upset because the crew chiefs now have figured out a way to make their drivers save fuel, which is only helpful because then if you have a long green flag run and you have to come in for just gas, well, if you've used all your gas, you've got to come down for 4.5, 5 seconds to get a full tank. But if you have conserved fuel and you've got to come down for fuel only, you only got to come down for 2 seconds. And depending on the racetrack and how many laps are left, that 2.5, 3 second difference could be the difference in you winning and you finishing 7th or 8th. But what that's done at Talladega this past weekend, instead of the drivers averaging about 193 miles per hour, they averaged about 175 miles per hour. So, of course, the fans are upset that they didn't go full throttle. But honestly, when you're watching 36 cars side by side, nose to tail, and the difference between first place and 30th place is 1 second, if they don't put on the screen that they're going 175 instead of 192, you can't tell. If they don't put it on the screen or tell you, there's no way you're going to know. You can't sit at home on your couch and watch that race and say, you know what? Them guys ain't going 190. I think they're only going about 175. You just don't know. But of course, because of modern day technology, they put on the screen the RPMs and speedometers and all that so you know how much slower they're going compared to normal. But there was a lot of times in this race this past Sunday where the drivers were side by side, 2 wide and 3 wide. And I'll take side by side racing at 175 instead of single file at 195. That's just me. Yeah, 195 is faster, but side by side racing 3 wide from first place to 36th place, in my personal opinion, is a lot more exciting than guys going 195 and just following each other. That's boring. But there really ain't much they can do unless NASCAR lays down a rule that says, hey, you've got to be full throttle. But then you've got to specify what tracks you're talking about. Because at some tracks like Bristol and Martinsville, if you go full throttle, they're so small, you're going to be in the wall. So unless you start saying, well, here you use the brakes, but here you don't, there really ain't much you can do about it. But if the crew chiefs have figured out how to save fuel to cut their final pit stop in half, it's genius. It might not be as exciting to watch, but it's genius. But to me, it makes it just as exciting because then if you have a green flag pit stop and the drivers have to come down, then you're going to get there and sit and watch and say, who's going to have a 5-second pit stop? Who's going to have a 2-second pit stop? Who might chance it and try to be really conservative and just skip the pit stop? So to me, it makes it just as exciting in case you have a long green flag run where you have to have a pit stop at the end for just fuel only. Any thoughts on this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I'm getting me a job at a salsa company for a change of pace. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.